Hello and welcome to all the members of the Barbarian Horde. I'm Joe. Today's video is going to be a solo, as it's a follow-up to the previous week's Titan Comics comic book review. Issue number 2 this time, Dos, is one that starts pretty well with Conan showing off this great, magnificent sword that he got from Venarium. At which point, was the battle which earned him his stripes, so to speak. At quelque point, Brissa then decides that dibs is the rule of thumb here. Conan and her are ambushed by a zombie, with the two fleeing and hiding, and they're not able to rest until it's light, at which point they discuss Samaria and how it's hard country. And Conan asks about the lost tribe, at which point Brissa admits to being a little afraid, and that for the first time in weeks she feels safe with Conan, and invites him to have fun time with her. At which point he does, and they start discussing the gods and some of the local tribes that Conan is friendly with, or at least one local tribe where there's some guys he knows and he basically fought alongside. And it's remarked that by her that Conan is a seeker and a slayer and a survivor, which is very apt. He is just those things, and they bond a little more, and they decide to venture onwards into the winter landscape, traveling for quite some time until they find what seems to be a village of slaughtered men. And they see a great light, and it apparently blinds all their senses, including their sense of hearing. And you get a pretty dark scene here of how it kind of works with the zombies, and that it's a dark god beyond death, beyond time itself. And at which point the local Sumerians arise and become zombies, and the two have to fend them off. Near to the end of the story, or at least this issue, they see that there's some sort of gas or light or something coming out of one of the local mountains, and that it looks like a mountain, but it's a grand tower, as it's stated in the comic, a spire of black stone that shimmers with unholy power. And it is a pretty interesting issue, mostly focused on character, and there is quite a bit of dialogue. There's also a lot of action, but I will actually say that I like this one better than the previous issue, and that down the road this is going to be an issue that will require a lot more analysis, and I do hope that they continue to use Brissa later, et qu'elle devienne a mainstay. I want her to be a mainstay of this run, because it'd be interesting to see her as an ongoing character who supports Conan and whom he interacts with from time to time, till they probably eventually kill her off or something. I don't know. But I think that there's a lot of character potential for her. That said, I'm always in favor of a larger support cast for Conan, if only because I like the idea of him bouncing off other characters. And, sorry, I had to move something. And Conan, in this issue, really does shine in a very interesting way. So, we get to see a bit of his tender side and his genial side, so that he seems like a companion in front of the campfire. He seems really kind of like another friend of yours. And I really like that. Jim Zub, I had heard some criticism of his writing in the first issue, and I kind of leaned that way. But in this one, he really does tap into Howard's Conan, I think. And I hope that he keeps to this characterization. And I think that this is one of the best comic book issues in the past almost 10 years or something. I'm not sure. But it's way better than anything Marvel's put out recently. And it's easily one of the top issues of the past few years. I'm still partial to the Dark Horse run, but this is a run that's already winning me over. I like the art. I like the characters. I like the writing. All it needs is mood music. But if you put on a good bit of Mahler's symphonies or something, or Beethoven's, you quickly get into the mood. So let's rate this comic. So usually how we rate things is from 0, which is beyond the pall. It's horrible. You don't read it. 2, well, that basically describes everything Marvel and DC have put out in the past 10 years. So 2, 4, which is perfection. This is basically the Roger Ebert and Gene Siskel rating system for all intents and purposes. Dan and I really love that. We're Gene Siskel and Roger Ebert fans. So here we go. Except we do the quarter stars and 3/4 stars on occasion. But I'm going to say this is a 3.5. This is a very, 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 very good comic book issue. I really like this one. I really like it. So I highly recommend it. You should read it. And I hope everyone enjoyed this video. And don't forget to smash that like and that subscribe button as though you were Conan smashing his enemies to itty bitty pieces.